Do you think for this film that you're maybe not sick enough?
No, I have no idea why you guys are in here. I say that and yeah, no.
Can you elaborate?
I'm not clinically diagnosed with an eating disorder. So like, I feel like I'm not sick enough. Maybe if I was like 30 kgs, I would be like, okay, I have a problem. But I'm not. I'm like really quite far away from that. So I think my brain is telling me I'm healthy. But I know that there's something wrong with that part of me. So, yeah.
I'm concerned about disappointing you all because I don't have much of a story. I feel like I kind of feel like a fraud being here. So this is a big step for me, and I know that a lot of people can end up seeing this, but after hearing about the amount of people that actually do go through eating disorders and having eating disorders and stuff, I feel like it could help, and that brings me comfort. Yeah.
When the pitch went through and we decided we are going to produce this film, it was shock, and it was scary, because now I have to commit to sharing my story, but the motivation comes from my need and want to help people around me. My self-doubt is so strong that I second guess any move I make. So even with creating this production, pitching this concept, I felt like, Disha, no one's gonna care about what you have to say about this. No one is going to take an interest to this. Like, who do you think you are? Do you think you're that special? You're not. You don't even look good. You think you can do something like this.
I started pageantry at a very, very young age. I think I was only in grade 3 where I entered my first pageant, and that was just for fun. But as soon as I started an agency, everything got very numbery. It would almost be like a goal at the end of every month to be lower than the month before or smaller in measurements than the month before. And that started, I think it really became a problem once I hit 13, so around about grade 7.
The first time that I can remember actually being scarred by somebody who said something to me, I remember walking into a clothing store with somebody I thought I trusted, and I looked at a belt that was like elastic and it would like cinch your waist, and I told this person, wow, I really want one. And this person turned around and said to me, you can't have that, that's for skinny girls. And that's kind of, in my opinion, the first seed that was planted in my head of, you're not thin, you're not the beauty standard, you're not pretty. And that's where my mind went. And I was 11. Like, I was 11 years old.
I was studying at DUT, Durban University of Technology. I was meeting friends from the past who I went to school with every now and then at a bar or a restaurant or something. And it would not be great because they would see me and sometimes they wouldn't recognize me because of how much of weight I had gained. And they'd be shocked to be like, Nashan, oh my God, you look... Then that pause, different. Oh, you've gone big. Like they don't mean any harm in it, but you just die inside, you know? It was around that time, 2013, when I was at DUT, that I decided that I wanted to just not be around anyone anymore. That's when I moved to Cape Town. Yeah.
In the modeling industry, it's almost weird if you don't have an eating disorder. So if you're not constantly counting calories or being very aware of what you're eating, or for example, just chugging water constantly, there's almost something wrong with you. And then you're almost ostracized because you can live this normal life. You don't have to worry about that. So it when I was very young, and I'm talking like before 12, so like when I just freshly started modeling, I could eat anything because I was a child and no one cared. And it was almost like all the older girls that I was friends with, even if I was just a year younger than them, they would be like, how could you do that? It's so toxic for your body to do that. So I think that really played a part in like tipping me into just diving into like meal suppressions and stuff like that.
As a child, I remember being in primary school and waiting for my parents to go to bed, locking the door, and then exercising because I thought by the morning. Obviously, as a child, you don't understand how these things work thoroughly. And I used to think, no, by the morning, I would definitely have lost weight.
I remember I was part of a lift club, and one thing that made it clear that I was overweight was the comments from the other people in the lift club about how the car is heavier today. And that's because Ashland's in the car. And you really feel that, like the words hurt, but you feel that when they're going to a speed bump and they take the speed bump at an angle so that the car doesn't touch the road, the chassis of the car doesn't touch the road because of the weight of the car. And then you're in the car and then everyone hears that car scraping. And you know what everyone in the car is thinking. And you just want to die in those moments. You just want to curl up into a ball and just.
Oh, you're looking so well. You're so healthy now.
Oh, you look healthy now.
Healthy in the Indian community is not really healthy, it's fat.
My brain automatically assumes healthy means to put on weight because that is what has been drilled into my head. It's not their fault. I don't blame them, but it's almost like those things trigger me to such a point where I'd rather not eat the rest of the day.
I feel like I have the most amount of self-control and I'm most disciplined when I can starve myself for the longest amount of time. And it's when I give into that starvation that I feel like I'm weak. Like try harder, Denisha. What do you mean? And I like the control of not being able to eat, or like not eating rather. The eating, it's just everything I put in my mouth is another thought of, are you sure you want to eat that? What's that going to do to you? Don't be stupid. Like, why would you eat that? Or you think you have a problem, you're unhappy with your body, but you're eating? You're stupid then. Those are like the things that go through your head. So just going to university and not having anybody watching me constantly and making sure I was eating was just, for me, that was like everything. And before I knew it, within like 3 months, I had dropped 14 kgs.
Every single one of my friends were like on diet pills at the age of like 10. So why wasn't I on diet pills at the age of 10? So I just started eating diet pills for no reason, and then it just spiraled into something that I didn't know it was.
I started with chewing and spitting food. A female friend of mine, she wanted me to be a prom partner. She was at an all-girls school. And I had a few weeks to prepare for it, and I had some weight on me, and I needed to take drastic steps to look good in a suit. It's a method that works, and I know that it's unhealthy. I do know it's not healthy now, and I don't do that anymore, although honestly, before forming before we started this documentary, I did consider starting doing it again, but then I thought to myself, no, that will be hypocritical.
I don't fit the mold. And it's this pressure because I don't fit the beauty standard, but then at the same time, I don't fit this mold of what a eating disorder victim looks like.
But I retired from pageantry and modeling and things like that, and I was like, I can finally eat whatever I want and I can do whatever I want. And then I would go out with my family or with my boyfriend and we would just eat whatever we wanted because I didn't have to like worry about my weight. And I would put on so much weight, and it honestly would send me into such a depression or like a spiral that I would just stop eating, not because like I wanted to, but because I hated the way I looked, because that isn't the way I looked maybe 6 months before or a year before. And I would sit there in that moment and be like, that 6 months of happiness was not worth what is happening right now.
There's this misconception around what you're supposed to look like and what you're supposed to be like if you're an eating disorder victim. And I feel like it does so much harm, because then it's people like me who sit back and kids like me who don't see themselves as having a problem.
I promised myself. Shit. Promised myself that I would, if I didn't lose weight by my birthday, which was October 2020, that I would finally get the balls to end it. Yeah, it came to that date and I had not lost the weight, but I didn't, and I was angry with myself for not being able to, because of having some hope. So I was angry at myself for having hope that I could lose weight.
I just sometimes feel like I wish I could say to those who are as reckless with their words as they are, I wish I could tell them that if you could see what I say to myself on my skin, if you could read it, or if you could look into my mind and hear the stuff that I say to myself, you wouldn't. Because anything you say to me, I've already said to myself 10 million times worse and 10 million times more. Just because now I've told you about it, and just because now I'm on like a recovery plan or people are trying to help me through it, doesn't mean it's easier. If anything, it gets worse, because now you have to start recovery. You have to start being more aware, and people are more aware of you and your actions. I wanted to hide. That is when, for me, it feels like you're like drowning in some days where you don't want to, but you're being forced to. That is suffocating. I'm willing for this film to put myself in the firing range so that those around me can feel more comfortable. And it doesn't have to be this thing that you're ashamed of and that you hide from. You can talk about it and you can experience it and you can feel it to the fullest, and you will be loved either way.
very competitive person. I'm not in pageants anymore, so now everything is a competition. The longer I can go without eating is just like another goal. I would like to say that I do this makeup all for me, but I feel better when I'm in makeup than when I don't. So when I have makeup on, I almost feel like they're hiding imperfections in my face that I don't like. Also with makeup, you can change like the structure of your face. You can make your cheekbones higher, change the angle of your eyes and stuff like that. So it became a way for me to like portray what I want to look to the outside world. It's just become like almost a coping mechanism. It's just if I don't feel my best that day, I would rather take the extra 45 minutes in the morning to do something amazing on my face so that people don't look at my body and go, oh my gosh, why does she look like that? They go, oh my word, she's got such cool makeup on. Like, that is how my mind sees it. But I try not to hide behind my makeup. I try to make it a part of who I am. There was such comfort in people thinking exactly the way you thought, because you didn't have to explain away why you're not eating at dinners. You didn't have to explain why you're not having this drink at a party. They knew. I just don't go out with people or do things with people who haven't shared the experience or at least have some kind of understanding. But it just makes things very lonely sometimes.
When I was staying in Joburg, I bought a 6-foot, 84 kg punching bag. And that was when I was at my heaviest. When I'm punching the bag, the thing that fuels me the most is anger. When I think about myself, this fat suit that I feel like I have on constantly, that anger about that, it fuels me. I do feel like I am different to other people in that I am more of a physical fighter. I have the capability of fighting. But I don't see myself as a fighter in my general life. I see myself as weak. Yeah, I don't see myself as a fighter. There's always a degree of punishment that we inflict on ourselves.
I'm lucky because I have people around me who support me. I'm so lucky because there's so many people out there who don't. And I already find it so tough while having my family around to hold my hand. Can you imagine what it's like for those who don't have anybody?
I have avoided family, all my family, for years because I want to just be slim before I see them again, so that they can look at me and say, oh, he's not a failure. He's not. Yeah. just want them to be proud of me, you know? Like I accomplished something.
Pageants, the judge's job is to judge you. You entered this because it was fun, and now it's almost consumed part of you. So I want younger me to just be more happy and not be so worried about what everyone else thinks or how they're perceived. If it's not something someone can fix in 10 seconds, don't mention it. It's just that easy.
Our final question. At the start, you said there's almost no point in you being here and that you don't have much of a story. After sharing your experiences with us, do you still feel the same way?
I may have, may have a bit of a story.
When these cameras cut and when I go back to living my normal everyday life, it's not going to be a situation of, oh wow, okay, I spoke about this in my documentary, I have help, I'm cured now, everything is fine. It's not. I go back to struggling every day to eat, or having good days and then having bad days. The end of this film, the conclusion of this film, the resolution, is not me being cured. It's not any of us being cured. It's what people take from this. The resolution will be either people relating to it and finding help, or it will be people being more mindful to others. It's what you take from this. It's not me curing myself. It's how people respond and how mindful they are at the end of it.